Hello, it's June 10th, 2025. That always takes me a few minutes to figure out, like time and space. And I'm Joe Weston, that I kind of like know on some level, whatever that means. And as always, it's exciting to be here and to welcome you all for our monthly Global Heart Gathering. And it's always great, as I say, it's always great to see familiar faces. And it's great, of course, to see new faces. And I'm seeing a lot of new faces. And I would say new hearts who are joining us. And it's always nice. And what we do here, what we've been doing, I think it's either 2017 or 2018, but I'll go with 2017, is that we've been meeting for the most of that time weekly. Now we're working monthly to come together, to be in community with each other, to come with like-hearted people, to hold space, to be in community, to support one another, to practice with one another. And what we're here to practice is what is our role in this moment on this planet. And in order to be to take on a larger role, if that's our choice, to cultivate through the practice that we do, resilience and fierce compassion. And not just the idea of that, but literally rewiring the nervous system, working with and creating new habits to be able to walk through the world with more resilience, feel more confident, and without burning ourselves out, to be able to hold more beings in our hearts. And in essence, by doing that, we become what I call midwives. And that I've been saying this for decades now, that what we're seeing is the world system, many parts of the world system is dying away, and that there are new world systems that are emerging, that are here. Unfortunately, the media doesn't find that sexy, so we don't find out about it often. But there is an enormous movement and an enormous awakening that's happening on this planet. I'm involved with many groups. Many of you here who are involved with many groups, um, and that we become midwives for the dying, for the system that's dying away, and we become midwives for what is being birthed. And that, from what I know, I've done trainings with midwives and doulas and providers for birthing and death doulas. And it's very noble work and it's very challenging work, but it is the work of being able to be fully engaged with what's happening in that moment, but still being objective enough and resilient enough and grounded enough to jump in with as many arms as you need in that moment to be of service. And that's what we're cultivating. Uh, what I've been saying for years is what we're cultivating is compassion in action, where we take our ideas and our sentiments about compassion and put them into direct practice. And in fact, I think that what we're doing here is takes that even a step further from compassion in action to compassion in being. That when we fully embody compassion, then there's no more doing. There's simply being in the moment. And any moments that we see an opportunity to provide nurturing for someone, we provide it. To provide happiness or healing for someone, we just naturally do it, and it doesn't burn us out because it's just a natural state of being. Or if we feel that we need to alleviate suffering or to protect, that we are there that we are in the being of that, and we naturally find our way to doing that. And in this practice, of course, we expand our capacity to not just do that for those we love, and not just do that for those who share same political views or views of any kinds, but we do that for strangers. And we can even find a way to do that for adversaries. And what we're doing in this practice is understanding that is catching up with what I believe to be fundamentally true, that we are inherently interdependent and interconnected globally. That is a natural state of all beings on this planet, of all plants, of all rivers, of all oceans, and of course of all human beings. And the more in the last 50 to 100 years, we see that sense of global interdependence and interconnectedness is even more evident. where we're so vulnerable to what's happening on one side of the world, where we see the planet itself, that it's affecting all of us. So we don't have to become more interdependent and more interconnected. We have to catch up with the awareness that we already are that, which means we have to take a look within ourselves, the mental constructs that we still hold on to that convince us that that is not true. It's not good or bad. It doesn't mean we're bad because of that. It's simply a practice. And I just find that the work that I've been doing for now decades around the world, that when people can step more into that embodied sense of the heart, where wisdom resides, where common sense resides, where respect resides, compassion resides, that we are just naturally in what how I would define resilience. We're in a natural state of presence, awareness, balance, and flow. And we move through the world with more confidence, with more grace, because of our presence, awareness, balance, and flow. Because of the ways that we have looked within ourselves to cultivate our own self-compassion. And I know that's one of Shelley's favorite words in Dutch, zelfmededogen, that she loves to say, and she does it pretty well. And that is the work of our time. And that is the work that I've been doing with respectful confrontation and fierce civility. And in these sessions, for those of you who are here for the first time, because there's some remarkable people here from various parts of the world who are joining us on the World Wide Web, and also others who are joining us from their hearts in their own way in various parts of the world. We represent people from North America, various parts of North America, from Europe and other parts of the world. And in essence, what I love to say, usually at the end to give a sense of what this is, but I want to say it now at the beginning, because I know the people, everyone here, I know everyone here. I know, at least generally speaking, your gifts and your commitment to the planet and your commitment to service. And it's remarkable. And the fact that how many of us, we're about 17 or 18 people, it's a statistical miracle that we are gathered together. Of the 8 billion people on the planet, the fact that at this moment in time and space, that we come together is a statistical miracle. And I believe in miracles. And for me, I'd love to hear your definitions of miracles. For me, a miracle is simply understanding that something that is statistically improbable from happening happens anyway. And that imagine what can happen with this statistical miracle that these 18 or so people come together of 8 billion, what we can generate together and what we can make happen just in this hour to contribute through the World Wide Web, a shift in consciousness, a shift in awareness, a gentle holding for the world system that's dying away, and a loving, nurturing, and protective embrace of what is being born. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So what we usually do is I give a little talk, as I'm doing now, to set a context. I lead you in the practice. Then afterwards, we have a chance to reflect and just share what's on your heart. And then we close with a dedication. But I want to just bring up something that, just because I've been in dialogue with many of you. I'm back in Amsterdam. It's been, the last time we had this talk, I was in Dubai, and that was fun. That was quite unique. Janavi was there with me, being her brilliant, magical self. And now I'm back in Amsterdam. And I've been talking about, very much engaged and very much focused on what's happening and evolving on the planet, particularly for my American brothers and sisters and siblings who are really struggling at the moment, from what I see, really struggling. And every day that passes, it seems to be more urgent. And it's been interesting for me to be out 6 months now and to be traveling throughout Europe, in the Netherlands, in Italy at various times, in Dubai, and feeling into the global energy from those perspectives, but also very concerned every day what's unfolding in the US. and trying to offer a perspective of many of us are feeling powerless. And what can we do right now to be of service? What can we do to provide service? What can we do to be active? And I've been offering different perspectives on that. Is what can we do today? What can we do that's not necessarily going to, change a government in a matter of hours, but every small action, that the idea of engaging with those who are strangers. Barbara's here and others tell stories of just these just very simple things of engaging with people in their neighborhoods and shifting how they engage with them, that not underestimating the power of that. And I've just been observing and just thinking about this. I'm very, very much focused on what's happening in LA with the riots that are happening there. And that and with the military coming in now, and just honoring these probably mostly young people who are stepping up, not from a place of aggression, but from a place of protection. And and just feeling into the different dynamics and the different cultures I've been in. That one of the skills that I talk about in fierce civility is a method and a practice of cultivating the skills and strategies of the heart, not a sentimental idea of the heart, but to generate more a sense of courage, to be able to stand in the face of resistance and challenge and maybe even aggression and take care of yourself and also take care of the other in that encounter, to get to a win-win solution, to get more buy-in. It's possible. It just requires skills and strategies. And unfortunately, I feel a lot of our communication methods and tools worked 10 years ago. They maybe even worked 5 years ago, but I'm finding that they're not able to meet the challenges we're facing. And that's what I'm hoping to offer with understanding this idea of resilience, of nervous system regulation, understanding trauma, and understanding the dynamics that happen when things do start getting heated. And one of the skills that I talk about is being able to shift from being in a pattern, a polarizing pattern of defender, aggressor, or from passivity and aggression, which we get stuck in, to actually stepping into the roles of nurturer and protector, that we actually practice on a regular basis to rewire our nervous systems, that in every moment we take care of ourselves, but that our instinct is to nurture and protect. And the whole essence of fierce civility is this idea that what I'm finding unfortunate and what we're seeing happening is that we hold on to this polarity that unfortunately we think we have two choices: being passive, or what I call chronically nice, or being aggressive and being a bully. And unfortunately, if we think those are the only two choices we have, if we don't want to be a bully or aggressive, we end up getting stuck in chronic niceness. And we don't get into a fight response in our anxiety. We get into a freeze or a flight response, or fawn, as some people mention. And that polarity is causing a stagnation. The idea of fierce civility breaks that open. And what it does is it wakes us up out of our passivity. And this is the key. It wakes us up out of our passivity into receptivity. And it takes us out of immediately going into an aggressive stance when we feel threatened, or if if it starts getting tense, to assertiveness. It's very subtle. I don't know if someone can type that in, but it's a whole practice. It's like the fierce civility methods, like learning martial arts. You train yourselves to come out of passivity into a receptivity. You train yourself to override your aggressive impulses to get to an assertive thing. And where I developed this was I was asked by a women's rights organization in Gaza, and that was 2016. So that's a while ago. They asked me, can you create a teacher training program that we can train men in Gaza to be ambassadors, to go back into their communities, to train other men how to stop beating their wives? They wanted me to teach them how to teach men how to stop beating their wives. I said, sure, of course. And I did. And I through the respectful confrontation, fear, civility model. And what I realized in doing that is to be able to, with compassion, look at these men who are committing domestic violence, or simply being men from a culture where, on some level, a false belief that their Bible tells them that they can or are obligated to beat their wives, which is false, and they come to learn that. But to help them see that to just tell them to stop doing it's not going to change it. So the idea is, what do you replace it with? So I thought, and because these men, in essence, specifically men in Palestine, have been so emasculated, I would say, from the Israeli government. They have no sense of power, that unfortunately the only way they can get a sense of power was to harm their wives and their children or have power over. So in a sense, how can you help them feel empowered? And the idea of the training was to slowly help them switch from being aggressors to being protectors. Use that energy not to harm or oppress, but to protect. And on the other side, to allow the women, particularly in this case, to go from being defending themselves and passive to become nurturers. So you create a dynamic of nurturer and protector. And eventually you want to have that where it's not about men or women, it's simply a relationship where there's just a balance and a dance of nurturing and protecting. And that's where I got this idea to bring this, to develop this. And I've been talking with a lot of you in the last few months of what can we do in this time? And I offered three roles: that of refuge. If there's something you can do today, is know that there are, especially in America, there are so many people who are panicking and feel unsafe. Connect with them and create a sense of safe space for them. That's something we can all do today. Or soothe. If people are really struggling, find a way. What can you do to soothe them? And I say that if we really want to see transformation on the planet, what can we do to be transformers? If we're trainers or coaches or therapists or activists in some way, what can we do to lean in on what I call the resilient edge of resistance with someone and help them see where they can transform their own viewpoints, habits, and patterns? But if not that, how can we just say every morning I'm going to wake up and who can I nurture today? Who can I protect today? And for me, what's happening in LA is these people are protectors. People who are advocating for what's happening in Gaza and other parts of the world, they're protectors. And in that lies, I think, an enormous amount of what we're practicing here is resilience and fierce compassion, where there's just no more question other than there's suffering. What can I do to alleviate it? How, and that not only does that benefit others, but we can go to sleep at the end of the night, do an inventory and say, how was my day? Who did I nurture today? Who did I protect today? And know you can sleep with ease and peace knowing that you have done that. And that's not something that no one has to know about that. And that's aside from all the work you do. It's simply waking up in the morning and saying, what can I do? Because imagine, of the 8 billion of us, if more of us woke up every morning with this idea of who can I engage with? Who can I nurture? Who can I protect? Then we naturally start breaking through the barriers of the mental constructs that create separation. And we naturally get back to our natural flow, as in every other species and aspect on this planet and nature itself. We come into presence, awareness, balance, and flow. And we are skilled and confident when challenges come our way because we are present and aware, because with our balance and with our flow, we can dance with those obstacles. And with that energy of moving, of receptivity and assertiveness, we engage and bring others in. So just imagine that just for a moment, and we'll take it into the practice. What would passivity seem like? How would you be sitting? And I think what's unfortunate is a lot of us on the planet, because of the internet, because of the media, because of our fear, because of lack of knowledge, we're in a state of passivity. Or we're in a state of aggression. And I like to use the image of tennis, right? You know, you can't passively stand on the court and wait for the ball to come. That's not a clever way of playing a good game of tennis. There's that exciting receptivity. And the same thing with the server. You can't hit that ball with all your might so that it goes half a kilometer out of the court and it's not in the bounds of the court. So ultimately, what you're cultivating, which I think is beautiful, it becomes a dance, is, help me here, Shelley, assertive receptivity and receptive assertiveness. Catch that one for a moment. That you're assertive in your receptivity and you're receptive in your assertiveness. And when you are in that state, you will notice that things that no one else will see. You will notice where in discussions where you can find a way to find the common ground. You will notice when people are suffering and need support, you'll be the first one to be there. You will notice within yourself when your own wisdom is arising, your own challenges are happening, how to take care of yourself. And if there's anything that's needed at this moment is that we take care of ourselves. Because the world system's doing a good job of burning us out and keeping us dysregulated and keeping us separate. So there was more I wanted to say about this, maybe I'll say that next time, just how we're wired into the predator prey. And I'm noticing it. One thing I will notice is that from my own personal journey, I'm just noticing not being in the USA anymore for the last 6 months, I can finally rest in my nervous system. I can find, and I would find that for years. It's not just now. Whenever I would leave the States and come to Holland, I would get literally at the airport, I would walk off the plane, and I didn't think this. I just would start noticing my nervous system would relax more. And then being in a culture, and so being in Holland and then being in a culture like Italy and different parts of Italy, it's always different. I had the pleasure with Susanna to be invited into some remarkable work down in the south of Italy. Susanna's doing remarkable work, protecting our democracies around the world. Thank you, Susanna. And even being in Dubai and feeling the energy there of that culture and the different class structures. And I would suggest you do that if you get to go to different countries or even in different parts of the cities you're in or different parts of the country to just feel into how much do you feel naturally that you can just feel your nervous system feeling a certain level of safety or not. And just imagine people who are less aware, who don't have the tools that we have. My goodness, I can't even imagine what their nervous systems are like. And don't have that awareness. So I want to just leave it at that. And maybe I will, because I have some interesting theories of having worked with the combat veterans, of really experiencing and understanding spiritual practice from the perspective that from predator prey, how our nervous systems and how we, on some level, by breaking through those patterns of predator prey, we come into a higher level of ourselves. But that our nervous system is usually wired that way. And being in environments like with prisoners and with combat veterans or in different parts of the world and in conflict zones, to just feel, oh, am I prey? Am I predator? And it's just a fascinating dynamic that I learned a lot from, to be aware of that. And that compassion in action, I think, transcends that. That part of spiritual practice is transcending those basic impulses of predator prey, coming into our hearts and holding a higher level of frequency for ourselves and others in the planet. So it's a lot of words. I want to take that into the practice, and I'd love to hear your reflections on this. And in this practice, for those of you here for the first time, there's no right way to do this or wrong way to do it. It's about finding your way. And again, this is to, in a sense, cultivate resilience and fierce compassion. So to start this practice, I invite you to sit in what I call power sit, which is sitting with your spine straight. Maybe not leaning against the back of the chair so you can really straighten your spine without being rigid. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your belly. Many of you know this practice we're doing on some level or variations of it, so bring in your own experience into this. Power sit. With this awareness of power sit, now bring your attention to your lower belly, to what I call your center, your core, which is approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel and a third of the way into the body from the front of the body. So if you want to investigate that, if you put your fingers together, you place your index finger over your navel where your pinky resides. That's the width of 3 fingers below your navel. Bring your attention now inside of your body about a third of the way. And I invite you to bring your full attention to that spot. Let's say it's your center of gravity, impulse, gut, wisdom, personal power, and awareness. And what we're doing in this practice is cultivating more awareness. We're pretty good at thinking about our reality. We're pretty good at feeling around our reality. But imagine being able to cultivate more awareness, then we can bring that fully into alignment, our head, our heart, and our body. So from your center, your personal power, center of awareness, become aware of your contact points, the parts of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on the ground. Really feel the sensations at the nerve endings of those parts of the body, the upper thighs, the pelvis. Feel gravity bringing you down closer to what you're sitting on. Allowing those parts of the contact points to drop in and actually register that there's stability under you, so that you can maybe even consider letting yourself be held. Let yourself be held. I think of it like I try to do it as like a lullaby to my nervous system. You are held. And imagine that the ground and the chair that you're sitting on represents actually the earth beneath you, and an honoring for the acupuncture point where you are on the planet at this moment, honoring all the beings who have been inhabiting this spot, peoples who have tended to this and loved it so well. Just taking a moment to say, Mother Earth is holding me. Feeling the energy of that, just recognizing that Mother Earth holds each one of us equally. She doesn't discriminate. Feeling the energy coming from beneath you, maintaining a connection with your core. We're now going to come more into the present moment with our awareness, starting with ourselves, starting with our physical body. So from your center, become aware of what's happening in your physical body, sensations. Fun part of this is to just be aware, to just listen. Let the body speak to you. Learn the body's wisdom, the vocabulary of the body. It's always got wise counsel for you. From your center, become aware of your emotional body, your emotions. What emotions are you present to in this moment? Maybe hundreds of emotions flowing with you. Which ones seem to be most present to you? Without judgment, simply notice and give them space. All feelings are welcome. From your center, become aware of your mental body, your thoughts. From your awareness, observe your thoughts. Not necessarily what you're thinking, but the quality of your thoughts. Are they tight and judgmental? Are they spacious? Maintaining a connection with your core, your personal power. Now bring awareness to the middle of your chest where your heart power resides. Compassion, respect, connection, your highest values. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of that part of you that always has access to something larger than yourself. And from that part of you, from your center and your heart, become aware in this moment, what is my connection in this moment to something larger than myself? Could be something spiritual, could be humanity, love. Feeling that energy coming from beneath you, from Mother Earth, flowing through you, from that which is larger than yourself, into your heart, into your core. Expanding out into your personal space, right out to the edges of your own personal space, sensing your personal boundaries in all directions, filling your field with this awareness. Again, allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And with this sense of awareness of yourself in this moment, from your center and from your heart, take a full deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Building on your connection with the present moment from your center and from your heart, become aware of your surroundings, keeping your eyes closed from all directions. And how much can you build relationship with your surroundings, how you're affecting your surroundings and how your surroundings are affecting you. Placing yourself in a context. And with this awareness of self and surroundings from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now with this awareness of yourself and your surroundings from your center and from your heart, become aware of those in this meditation circle and sharing this practice with you. From various parts of North America, various parts of Europe, and other parts of the world. From your center and from your heart, in essence, reaching out and connecting with their heart and their center. And considering in this moment, simply with your presence and awareness from your heart and your center, how you are impacting others. And in your state of receptivity, how you are being impacted as well. Allowing that energy to flow and emotions to flow. And with this, take a full breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And now expanding the capacity in your heart to be able to hold more beings in your heart, maintaining connection with yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation circle from your center and from your heart. Become aware of all human beings, first beginning with those human beings you would label loved ones. And who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? What groups of people? Does it impact your level of open-heartedness, your own sense of personal power? Notice the impact it has. Consider as you continue to breathe and connect from your heart and your core with their heart and their core, coming out of a more passive state into a more receptive and assertive state with them. Not aggressive, but assertive. Not passive, but receptive. And actually seeing as you're doing this, as you're connecting with them, that it activates them and pulls them out of their passivity and pulls them out of their aggression. And as you now engage with more assertive and receptive loved ones, just considering in your heart, in what ways can I offer nurturing? In what ways can I offer protection? The practice isn't that you have to come up with an answer. The practice is to habituate asking the question. And now bringing your focus to those you would consider strangers. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see or groups of people? I would imagine, knowing you a little bit, that there's probably more than 7 billion people that could fit into this category. How many can you hold in your heart at this moment? People that you may have you've seen in the supermarket, on the street, in the newspaper, or just people you assume in different countries. And as you stand or sit face to face with them, connecting from your heart, pulling yourself out of passivity as to engage with receptivity with these strangers. Pulling yourself away from aggression towards them, if that might be coming up, towards assertiveness. And imagine with all of these beings now that that are in your stranger category, by engaging with them in this way, you activate them and pull them out of their passivity and pull them away from their aggression into a state, into the dance of receptivity and assertiveness. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label adversary. And be honest. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? How many can you hold in your heart at this moment? How does that affect your level of open-heartedness and your own sense of personal power? Safety. Notice as you engage with these adversaries, does it put you into a state of passivity? Does it put you into a state of aggression? No right or wrong, no good or bad, simply observe. And if you find that you are falling into a state of passivity, what can you do to pull yourself into a state of receptivity? If you find that they activate within you a sense of aggression, what can you do to pull yourself away from that and simply be assertive with them? Find that right balance. And imagine that in this practice, that what you are doing now, that you have the capacity to neutralize their aggression, to neutralize their passivity, bring them deeper into their hearts and their personal power, willing to dance with you in this dance of compassion, nurturing, and protecting. So imagine you now dancing through the world with all beings, human beings, loved ones, strangers, and adversaries. See the planet. See what happens when human beings are doing this. See how happy it makes other creatures, the rivers and the mountains, how happy it makes Mother Earth in that dance of presence, awareness, balance, and flow. Fully living into, I believe, what our purpose is as the human species is to be nurturers and protectors for the planet and for all beings. And with that awareness, let's take a full deep breath to anchor that in our hearts, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And now allow all human beings and that whole image of that you have to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to those in this meditation circle. And take a moment with honor and respect to just appreciate the remarkable people who are sharing this practice with you. You have to trust me when I say they are remarkable, because they are. You are. Let those in this meditation circle flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to your surroundings, anchoring this back into your here and now, where you are, honoring and having and feeling gratitude for the privilege of having a roof over your head and the benefits you have to be able to do this practice. Let that flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to yourself and turning that self-mededoge, that self-compassion to yourself, activating all the parts within you to be receptive and assertive and be with your own inner dance in all moments. And noticing the benefits of this practice, allow the benefits of this practice now to seep into every cell of your body, awakening and enlivening every cell of your body, seeping into your organs to nurture and heal your organs, into your nervous system as a way to remember this, muscle memory, so you can walk this on the planet, this practice. And as a way to close this practice, take one final breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. When you're ready, very slowly open your eyes, look around the room, shake your body, stretch your body, come back to the screen and check out brilliant beings. I want to just acknowledge, I always love to acknowledge, and I'm always grateful when the four-leggeds show up. So I saw a bunch oh, there he is. There's a four-legged right there with Keith. I saw a couple of, Susanna had a four-legged pop in at one point, and I think Tori did as well. It's always nice to bring in more of the beings. So we started with a motivation, we did our practice, and now we have a chance to reflect. Is there anyone who wants to unmute and share what the practice was for you, or anything else that's on your heart, or anything you feel compelled to want to say? Please don't raise your hand, just unmute and speak.
I thought it was so interesting that assertive, receptive, and because I sort of have a Jungian background, that thinking of assertive as a masculine element and receptivity being a feminine element, not male or female, but just
Right.
energies, and that it's requiring us to be whole. We have to be both.
Yeah.
So I love that. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's another option, because we're so stuck in, again, polarizing views of what
Right.
man, woman, masculine, feminine, all of that it gives us more options.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You know what comes up for me is this. I've recently been kind of exploring more deeply the difference between doing and being, and I think about the two, receptivity and assertiveness, and passivity and aggressiveness. Passivity and aggressiveness is sort of more of a doing, and receptivity and assertiveness is, in some respects, more of a way of being. Anyway, that's what's coming up for me.
Thank you. Thank you. Susanna.
Thank you so much, Joe, first of all. And well, for some, I think, a professional deformation, I always think on how may I translate this into, international relations, international politics. I don't have an answer to that because I still feel confrontational towards, Russian governments, Netanyahu governments, and this kind of reactions, feelings I have when I think of those people. I cannot feel nurturing. I still feel angry. So, so I wonder if it's just a matter of practicing, with your neighbor, with the people you meet in the supermarket, as you said, and then it will come. The answer will come. I don't know. I just hope so. All right. If there is any short way to get there.
Shortcuts. She wants the shortcuts.
We tag team.
Yeah. There you go. The two of you, right? Well, there are many ways, and Susanna, let's have a conversation. I'd love to talk with you more about this because I would love to be able to see how we can take this more into policy making and how does this because I think that's important because as you know, I always say the problems aren't always the what, it's the how. And I would say that's how I would, you can have your viewpoints about these governments and about these world leaders. That's your viewpoint. You can have your data and facts, and you can share that. The question is, how are you sharing it? So how are you engaging with them, right? That doesn't compromise who you are, and that is the practice. It becomes more strategic. And then to see that the focus doesn't need to be on them or that government, but through the power of the pivot, which is another skill, you pivot away from that and you find that there are so many other resources and groups you can engage with that you strengthen yourselves in alliances and just naturally, without even having to deal with what you mentioned, that changes the balance of power. But it is a practice, and it is a practice. Yeah. John, Navi, did you want to share anything more about that?
I just felt the moment of that it's not about me, and it's the ocean fills up together, it fills up. And Susanna, as you were speaking, and I'm like, yeah, that's easy. I find when those rough edges in me come up, that's when it becomes a practice. So yeah, I guess it's about how much can I overflow. And I also, in this practice, like it noticed where it became like a burden, and then I'm like, okay, let's go slower, and just I use the flame of the heart just to get some kind of generation sort of where I guess where the scales, where I feel like I know where my footing is, and that's how I go with the flow. So yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for naming it, because that is the purpose of the practice, is simply to notice, where am I getting rigid within myself, and how is my rigidity not serving anybody? And again, not judging it and not having to compromise anything, but simply saying, what can I do to soften here, or to lean into it, or to give myself a break and just pull away a little bit, but to be in that constant calibration. And that's that dance of assertiveness and receptivity. I like to use the word dance because it just makes it more graceful. And when do you lean in? And for those of you who are coaches and facilitators and change agents, it's this idea of the concept that I use, the resilient edge of resistance. There's a sensitivity to that, of being able to lean in, not too much. Just like with massage, right? You don't want to dig in too much. That's not serving. And you don't want to just rub the body. You want to find that resilient edge of resistance, and that's where the magic happens. That's where healing happens. That's where new solutions for our planet are going to emerge. Only in that dynamic.
So
It's a
Joe,
tension. Yeah.
I had a micro experience yesterday about assertive and receptive. I was having an ice cream cone in a store with my husband, and all of a sudden, an older woman with a small dog who was not supposed to be in the store, but turned out to be a quote service dog, came directly at us. Talk about assertive. And she said, "How long have you been married?" And then we told her, and then she said, "Here's $5 to celebrate you." At which point she turned, walked out of the store, came back and said, "I would like to take a picture of you both because I'm a wedding planner." And then she left. So here we are, stunned. There she is, assertive. So next step, we have $5. We don't feel the need for $5. The clerk in the store has witnessed this. So we approach the clerk and we say to her, "We would like you to have the $5. And what I think I'm describing, Joe, on a micro level is a very complex interaction that is, you have to be open to it. We weren't prepared for it. It had a quite amazing sequence. And then what my friend said when we told the story is we paid it forward by giving the $5 to the clerk. So it was, I don't know, you tell me if that fits the receptive assertive model.
No, I mean, someone else can say it, but I think what is interesting for all of us to keep in mind is that you have chosen to say that her actions were assertive, whereas there could be other people who would have experienced that as aggressive, right? That's the subtlety. That's the work. And that's why many people, but for years I've been doing this in the respectful confrontation work, where we can't tell the difference between assertiveness or aggression, or we have too much, they're too interwoven. And you experienced it gladly enough. You experienced it as assertive, which created this, because you had enough sense of yourself. But again, someone else in different circumstances would have experienced that as aggression.
But there was $5 in the mix.
That's well, if someone was responding then in an aggressive way, right, then we go back to defender aggressive, then they would never have received that $5. They would have gotten there. That's again the idea of that's how miracles happen. That's how the magic happens.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, Claudia, so good to see you.
Same here. Sorry, I couldn't join sooner, but I just wanted to be here for a little bit, even if it's only a few minutes.
Yeah. Can we all wish you a quick happy birthday? Our birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, Claudia.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy birthday, Claudia.
Thank you.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Gracias.
Nice. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I would like to contribute something, because in the German language, the word for assertiveness means Durchsetzungsvermögen, and that means the ability to express. Yeah. And to me, the two terms of assertiveness and receptibility, when you connect them, that's the moment when creativity flows, right? This is exactly when something emerges. And I think for this question of being resilient, creativity is a huge subject which is not very often touched. So, so my idea is, if we only focus on nurturing and protecting, we are still in the system, which in a way we want to avoid. Yeah. If we take the next step of creativity, we're stepping out of this pattern, and we we do something. And creativity doesn't mean we are the big creators, but we are the big connectors, because creativity is an act of connecting what hasn't been connected yet.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
And I would say, knowing your work, that we become vessels for the creative emergence, which I think is very much in alignment with the work you do.
Yeah.
At least that's how I would interpret that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm with you on the connection piece, because I feel the more resourced we can be, the more willing we are to be connected and to meet the other who has a differing viewpoint, or who is not, do you know what I mean? Who creates that friction. So there's something about being fully resourced to have the courage to step forward and to meet the other, to create connection. And then we're not in a place of separation and pushing away from. But you have to be resourced in order to do that, or it's violent to you or the other. So, and I'm big on the creative piece of stepping out of the framework and not playing in that same maneuver, but to create something differently.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. A couple of more things. I've got some announcements before we end. I'm loving this discussion.
Can I throw one thing in? I just want to double dip for a second, which is that I'm working on seeing people who are aggressive as fearful. So I'm responding to them as them being in fear rather than aggression and wanting to defend myself. But so bringing compassion to that. And it takes a while to train ourselves to see aggression as really a state of fear.
Yeah.
So want to throw that in.
Thank you. Thank you. I know, Alessia, this is your realm, the creative emergence. All of your work is about creativity and that.
Yes, and I'm listening, and I love the definition of we are creative because we are the connectors. Yeah, our brains are connection making machines, and if we embrace that truth and we bring that to the world, that's how we express our creativity, bringing people together, making new connections, seeing things with the new eyes. Yes.
Yeah.
And in theater, saying the magical of theater, creating that we are doing together as well. And you are able to create that magic on our stage.
Yeah.
As life is.
Miracles. Well, let's take a breath. I really appreciate this. And again, if you only knew, you're getting a little glimpse of the people who were here. These are really remarkable people. I hope you all continue coming back and we continue being with this creative emergence. You know, we're doing this every second Tuesday of the month. It's great to see familiar faces. It's great to see new faces. Tell other people about this. One announcement I want to do is a couple of announcements, actually. I've been invited to be a guest panelist for a one-day event happening in Amsterdam to celebrate the 90th birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Elena is working on that. She's here with us. And that's on July 6th. So if you're in Amsterdam and you speak Dutch, come along. It's actually going to be live streamed. So if you speak Dutch, and come along, or I don't know if at live stream you can actually change the language. If you can, come along as well. It's going to be remarkable. There's so many events, creative events and panel discussions. And I believe I'm leading a meditation in that. And I'm excited about that. And for those of you in Netherlands, I'm going to start leading a weekly called Weston's Weekly Warm-Up every Friday morning in Amsterdam. So there'll be information of that on the website. I'm excited to do that. It's an hour and a half long of bringing in all the embodied work and doing with this. So if you're in Amsterdam, come and join. And who knows, if it goes well, maybe I'll do it in other countries. I might even consider doing it online at some point, but right now that's the story there. And I always like to mention other things. I don't ask for money for this, but if you want to make a donation from your heart, practice a little bit of gratitude or a lot of gratitude. You can make a donation to the Fierce Civility Project. I've just put links in for the various things. Feel free to make a donation for that. The money goes towards projects like this, and the Fierce Civility Project is now going to continue to grow around the world now to bring this work to organizations and to individuals and to challenge communities. If you want to purchase books, you can purchase books. If you want to get an Occupy Here t-shirt or mug, you can purchase that. Please get on our mailing list so you know about upcoming events, and you'll get notifications about this on a regular basis. I'm trying to, or if you want to, or get in touch with me, I'd love to be in conversation and with you. And, or if you want to check out my TEDx talk, A Cure for Chronic Niceness, please do and tell people about it. So, so we started with a motivation, we did our practice, we had a chance to reflect, and now what I'd like to do is to just do a quick dedication to channel this energy in this statistical miracle of these people who have come together, aligning hearts. Imagine the possibilities. Imagine the possibilities that think for yourself, where would you like to dedicate this? By the way, tomorrow is Sakadawa, which is an important holiday in the Buddhist traditions, where actually everything you do can be multiplied millions of times. So watch the words you say, but all the beneficial things you do get multiplied exponentially, in a sense. And it's Claudia's birthday and full moon. So just holding all of that energy, just let's dedicate this, that this may awaken in more people, breaking their patterns of going from aggression to assertiveness. People who are stuck in passivity and would love to be more engaged, that they find a way to pull themselves out of their passivity into a receptive state. That those who are feeling a sense of struggling, that this practice somehow reaches them and brings them a sense of comfort. That this awakens in more of us a deeper need to connect for the purpose of allowing the creative solutions that are emerging to emerge and fully embody on this planet. Okay, thank you. And that may it shift government policies as well to a more creative possibility and state. Let's add that as well. And may all governments and world leaders govern from a place of compassion and respect as opposed to fear and greed. Okay, everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you all.
So
And
good to see you.
Thank you so much.
see you next month.
Ciao.
Grazie.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to get off.